humans are constantly chasing increasingly bigger highs. And since 2012, people have been obsessed with the next hit, finding the next Usain Bolt.
Usain Bolt! Usain Bolt! Usain Bolt!
After all, this is him beating the next 4 fastest men in history comfortably. You couldn't make up a scenario this iconic. And since this race, there have been 10 youth athletes branded as the next Usain Bolt. Today, we're going from the beginning to see what happened to every athlete once branded with this title. The very first Bolt on our list, who went viral after one of the most disgusting comebacks in a 4x100 relay you'll ever see, was a 12-year-old James Gallaugher out of Australia.
Go James! Go James! Go James! Go James! Go James!
This singular video amassed 2.4 million views back in the day, so of course, the Australian news ran with it. At only 12, he had a personal best of 11.70 seconds, which is elite speed at that age, but still not even enough to dominate at his own country's age grade national championships. And even then, there was a 12-year-old in the US who ran significantly faster the same year, truly emphasizing the power of a singular viral video. 3 years on, in 2014 and 2015, he'd improve his 100-meter best to 10.89 and 10.77 at age 14. But more impressively, he ran a legitimate age-grade world record in the 200 meters, running an insane 21.73 seconds, the fastest ever done by a 13-year-old boy to this day. And around the same time, he got a second viral video as well. But clearly, you don't need an expert to tell you, he was just a kid who developed early and had a good amount of talent for sprinting. But in no way did he fit the physical profile of what could become an elite sprinter, let alone Usain Bolt. So by 2017, at age 16, he was already done with the sport. The very next year, the title would be given to another athlete who went viral, except this time it would be legitimate world-class speed. Hailed as the Japanese Usain Bolt, Yoshihide Kiryu. Age 17, he laid down a blazing under 18 world record of 10.01 seconds, taking down a mixed field of the top high school and university athletes in Japan, amassing over 1 million views at the time. But over the next 4 years, he would struggle to improve, hitting the wall of what was thought possible for an Asian sprinter. That is, until 2017. At age 21, he would become the first ever Japanese man to break the 10-second barrier, 9.98 seconds, a national record for its time. This arguably his greatest individual achievement to date. Emphasis on the word individual, because the Japanese 4x100 relay team is absolutely menacing every single year. Across Kiryu's decade-long career running for Team Japan, he has managed to net himself 2 World Championship bronze medals in 2017 and 2019, as well as an Olympic silver in 2016. Doing God's work on the third leg, bringing home medals with teams that on paper are up to a second slower than their main competitors. Kiryu today is only age 28 and is still representing Japan on the 4x100 relay team, even placing 5th at the 2024 Paris Olympic Games. So while certainly not living up to the Bolt label, he could walk away today with more major championship medals than countless athletes who have run faster. Ironically, that perfectly describes this next athlete, because the same year would get one of the strongest next Bolt candidates in terms of raw speed. This athlete became the first high schooler to break the 10-second barrier in any conditions. A young Trayvon Bromell out of the USA.
Oh my God!
His name would make the rounds after a ridiculous wind-aided 9.99 seconds at only age 17. But the real Bolt comparisons wouldn't take off until 1 year later in 2014, where as a freshman in the NCAA, he had a monstrous season. First, an alien-like wind-aided 9.77 seconds at his conference championships, showing incredible potential at just 18. And he'd fulfill it instantly to take the NCAA title in a legal 9.97 seconds, the first freshman to do so in a decade, and giving him the sole claim to the under-20 world record.
The freshman does hold it.
9.99 seconds.
Although, his career from then on would be extremely turbulent, filled with historic times, injury and struggles to perform overseas. Bromell has run an incredible 13 races under 9.9 seconds, 2 of these under 9.8, which land him as a top 10 sprinter all time. But almost all of these races took place within the US, and only once was he ever able to go sub 9.9 at a major international championship. That is legitimately generational talent, just at all the wrong times. Yet over the span of his career, he's still managed to walk away with 2 third-place finishes at World Championships, and is even set to return to the track in 2025, aged 29. No doubt to run fast again after dealing with his second major injury requiring surgery. In 2014, a Jamaican, British-born sprinter would make waves at the famed Jamaican High School Champs, breaking the championship record set by a young Johan Blake, an 18-year-old Zharnel Hughes. With a lanky 6'3" physical profile towering over his competition, would get our first Bolt comparison that passes the eye test. Pair that with genuine speed and training under the same coach, the hype was real. But unlike the last two, Hughes would be a slow roasting meal, struggling for years to break into that next level of speed. It would take him 4 years to break the 10-second barrier in 2018, aged 22. And after this, while he did show up at multiple World Championship finals, one being an iconic British false start at the 2021 Olympics, out of nowhere in 2023, 9 years on from his initial Bolt hype, and at age 28, past the prime of most sprinters, he finally had a breakout season.
Between him and the rest, the battle for second is close. 1978. Oh!
He'd run ridiculous times, breaking both British records in the 100 and 200 meter, with 9.83 seconds and 19.77 seconds in the 200. He would then put up historic performances back to back against the world's best competition, genuinely putting himself in the world's fastest man conversation. And on top of all of that, he'd even deliver on the world's biggest stage, finishing third at the 2023 World Championships. But as of today, that 2023 season may have been an anomaly. His 2024 ended early due to injury. Although, as history has taught us once, with Zharnel Hughes, only time will tell. Another year, another Japanese Bolt comparison. Although this time a little different, because this athlete took both sprint titles at the Under-18 World Championships, even breaking Usain Bolt's junior championship record in the 200 meter with a time of 20.34 seconds. 16-year-old Hakim Sani Brown representing Japan. But after his initial burst onto the scene, it took him a while to get his footing, taking 2 years to improve his 100 meter best down to 10.05, but struggling to move the needle of his 200 meter time at all. Similar to Hughes, Sani Brown would struggle to break into that next level of world-class speed, until 2019, where a flick just switched. In his second year representing Florida in the NCAA, he'd win his conference title, breaking 10 seconds, 9.99 on the dot. This made him the second fastest Japanese sprinter at the time, right behind the original Japanese Usain Bolt. But that wouldn't last for long, as he'd go on to run 9.97 seconds, a new Japanese record and third place at the 2019 NCAA Championships, also replicating another third place finish in the 200 meters. And he'd continue on this rising trend in the following years, becoming a genuine World Championship contender, running sub 10 seconds when it counts, qualifying for both finals in the 2022 and 2023 World Championships, meaning he is consistently one of the top 8 fastest men in the world when it matters. And there's not much else you can ask from a sprinter. So yeah, he didn't become Bolt, but he's still only 25 today, the best is yet to come. 2017 would get one of the wildest Next Bolt claims you'll ever see. Not only was this another 12-year-old, which went horribly the first time, but they weren't even of the same gender. Yet, it still just made sense, because a young Brianna Lyston out of Jamaica was running times like these.
Firm effort coming in from Brianna Lyston. Look at the clock. It's a wonderful performance.
23.43 seconds is a time so fast. It's only 0.13 slower than the B standard qualifying for most world championships. And again, she was 12. Although, this time was done with a slight tailwind of 2.2 meters per second, she did run a legal 23.72 in the final of her national championship later that day. And on top of that, it was a age grade 12 world record at the time. Just from the footage alone, you can tell she developed early, and the next coming years would prove that, as she went from utterly dominating in 2017 to getting beat regularly by competitors in the same age grade within Jamaica. Don't get me wrong, she was still running fast, improving her bests, slowly but surely each year. And that was all well and good until 2024, age 20, she finally broke through. Indoor NCAA 60-meter champ.
Catch Lyston. Lyston's going to win it. Jackson's second.
A windy 10.87 seconds and 10.84 seconds in her 100-meter debut for the year. She'd then gone to win her conference championship.
Kayla Jackson though, and she pulls up.
And to clock off a season of incredible times, a silver at the NCAA National Championships. Before 2024, the Brianna Lyston narrative was of a child prodigy who just didn't quite cut it. But now, after clawing herself out from beneath the grave, she's not only a favourite to take the 2025 NCAA title, but one of Jamaica's next big hopes in the women's sprints. From this point on, we're entering modern history, because in 2019, back in Australia, a 16-year-old would be dominating in not only the sprints, but the hurdles and the pole vault as well. Australian-born French star Sasha Zhoya.
Breakthrough moment, smashing the world record for under-18s pole vault.
Oh, he's done it! He's done it!
And just right off the bat, Zhoya wasn't a Bolt, no matter how many times they branded him as such. But they were right about something. He was a generational athlete. He'd win Australian national schoolboy titles in 3 separate events, and then do it all again at the under-20 and under-18 champs. But where he would impress most would be the 110 hurdles. And that's where all his focus would go. Only 2 years later, he was winning the World Under-20 Championships in a new Under-20 world record.
He's trying to go with him, all out there on his own, 12.73.
He'd then take the European Under-23 title in 2023, then the same year qualifying for his first World Championship final, finishing 6th. But in 2024, he did fumble at the Olympics, failing to make the final, just to take revenge at the Diamond League final only a few weeks later, taking out the Olympic silver medalist as well as several other men who starred in the final at Paris. He's slowly but surely getting faster every year, and he's still only 22 with a major global championship title under his belt. And in the same 2019 class, dubbed White Lightning, is Matthew Boling ripping the USA, a name you've most definitely heard of before. As a high school senior aged 18, he would go insanely viral for running a wind-aided 9.98 seconds, the fastest all conditions 100 meter ever ran by a high schooler in its time.
Matthew Boling, 9.98. Matthew Boling under 10 seconds.
But let's be real for a second. He went twice as viral because he was white. Because of this, Boling's journey has been so well documented. And while he is a professional athlete now, the original hype behind him has slowly turned into disappointment. After his stunning high school years, he would eventually run some fast times, notably a legal 9.98 seconds and 19.92 seconds in 2022. But besides some medals in the NCAA, he's never made Team USA individually in the 100 or 200 meters. And this year in 2024, opting to switch focus entirely to the 400, where he has won world medals on Team USA relay squads. But was this switch a good move? Right now, it's still up for debate. Wasn't this just yesterday? 2021 was the year that 17-year-old Erriyon Knighton hit the scene. By then, he had already signed a contract with Adidas with PRs of 10.23 seconds and 20.33 seconds.
Knighton! That is a new national record!
Which, while obviously ridiculously fast, no one was calling him the next Usain Bolt, until he outright broke Usain Bolt's under-18 world record in the 200 meters with a time of 20.11 seconds.
From Trayvon Bromell may have been picked off right at the very end, and it was Knighton.
And to top it off, he did it while taking out 2 people on this list, and Bromell and Hughes at the same time. It all just comes full circle. His name would continue to grow with an unbelievable 2021 season, going on to lower Usain Bolt's junior world records a further 1, 2, and 3 times consecutively, en route to qualifying for Team USA at the US Track and Field Championships, something thought impossible for a youth athlete to do in the modern sprinting era. But more than anything, his underdeveloped physique truly convinced the people, which is kind of a backhanded compliment, but he was tall, lanky, and clearly had more frame to fill out. And over the next couple years, we would see just that happen. improvements to his personal best, medals at World Championships. He was the real deal. But 2024 came with a hiccup. He was suspended for a short period, disrupting his build up to the Olympics. So while he came back with more size, he would net his second fourth place at an Olympics, which was considered a disappointing result because his expectations have been set that high. Erriyon Knighton is only 20, and these are his accolades. There is still a good chance he might just beat Bolt. The very next year, 2022, a similar talent to Erriyon Knighton would emerge from Africa, running with some of the smoothest form sprinting has ever seen. 18-year-old Letsile Tebogo out of Botswana. In this race, he had run 9.96 seconds, taking down the junior 100-meter world record held by a previous prodigy, Trayvon Bromell, but he'd do it while celebrating 15 meters out. And then he'd do it again, running 9.91 at the World Under-20 Games, this time celebrating even more fiendishly. Like Knighton, Tebogo had a lanky physique that people thought with more muscle would come more speed. But instead, he made being lightweight his weapon, and simply sharpened his tools, coming out swinging hard in 2023, netting himself a silver and bronze medal in the 100 meter and 200 meter at the World Championships. And then somehow, as the person on this list of the next Usain Bolts with the least amount of time to fully blossom into his talents, he is the first to bring home an Olympic gold medal, winning the men's 200 meter in dominant fashion against a ridiculously strong field in 19.47 seconds. This time, planting him among the top 5 sprinters of all time in the 200 meters. And of course, he did it again while celebrating before the line. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And here we are, 2023 and 2024, the modern day. We're getting talent unlike we've ever seen before, whose stories are unfolding in front of our very eyes. Almost none of the junior records set by Bolt or any of the previously mentioned athletes are still standing because of these kids. The last 2 years has been ridiculous. I'm not bluffing when I say this. There's a good chance the next decade of sprinting rivals the Bolt era and his records. And that's almost every youth athlete who has been called the next Usain Bolt. I did miss a few because the claims were weak, or they were 7 years old. But if this list has taught you anything, it's that if you're hailed as the next Usain Bolt, you're probably going to be pretty fucking fast. Thanks for watching, and extra thanks to my lovely patrons. If you like silly track and field videos, there's always more to come. See you next time.